In a quiet village tucked between rolling hills and dense forests, there lived a young man named Ethan. From a young age, Ethan was different. He had this restless curiosity, a deep desire to see the world beyond his home, and a longing to do something meaningful with his life. While other kids played safely by the river, Ethan would find himself at the edge of the forest, dreaming of adventures in faraway lands. Life in the village was simple, but it was also harsh. Most people discouraged big dreams. The world out there is dangerous, they'd say. Stay here, it's safe. But Ethan couldn't settle. He felt this fire inside him, a quiet but persistent voice that whispered, "There is more for you. Go and find it." One evening, an old traveler came to the village. He told stories of a distant valley beyond the mountains, a place of incredible opportunity, stunning landscapes, and people who lived with purpose and courage. Many villagers dismissed it as just a fairy tale, but for Ethan, it was a calling. This valley wasn't just a place, it was a symbol of the life he was meant to live. Determined, Ethan decided to go. He packed light, some food, water, a notebook, and a simple map drawn from the traveler's memory. His parents begged him to stay. "It's too dangerous," his mother cried. "You don't know what's out there." Ethan hugged them and said, "I have to find out for myself. If I don't try, I'll never know who I'm supposed to be." The first few days of his journey were filled with wonder. The forests were alive, sunlight danced through the leaves, and the streams seemed to cheer him on. He felt alive, optimistic, and full of hope, but soon, the path grew treacherous. The rocks were slippery, the forest became thick and impassable, and the nights brought a biting cold that cut right through his clothes. Hunger started to set in, and a deep fatigue weighed him down. Fear began to whisper in his ear, "Maybe you're not ready. Maybe this was a mistake." But then, Ethan remembered something his grandfather once told him, "Courage in the absence of fear. My boy, it's moving forward despite the fear." With that thought, he pushed on. One step at a time, every obstacle became a lesson. He learned how to navigate through dense woods, how to read the sky for weather, and how to listen to the subtle signs of nature. Each challenge, though painful, made him stronger, wiser, and more resilient. Weeks went by. Along the way, he met other travelers. Some had already turned back, defeated by storms, hunger, or their own fear. Others were just wandering aimlessly, their dreams long abandoned. They warned him about wild beasts, steep cliffs, and treacherous rivers. Ethan listened, thanked them for their advice, and kept moving forward. He understood that their fears couldn't dictate his journey. One day, a powerful river blocked his path. The current was strong, the water was deep, and the rocks were slick. Many would have given up right there. Ethan hesitated, feeling that old doubt creep back in. But then he remembered his goal, not just reaching the valley, but becoming the person he needed to be to get there. He focused, found a narrow path of stones, and slowly, carefully, he crossed. His legs were shaking, his heart was pounding, but he made it. The river had tested him, and he had won. The nights were often the hardest part. Alone under the vast, open sky, he battled loneliness and fear. Strange sounds echoed from the forest, and shadows danced in the moonlight. During these moments, he would write in his notebook his fears, his hopes, his thoughts. Writing helped him realize that strength isn't just about action. It's also about understanding yourself. One night, a violent storm hit. Ethan took shelter under a large tree, shivering, soaked, and completely exhausted. For a moment, he thought, maybe I should just turn back. But then he remembered that initial spark, that fire inside him that had never gone out. He slowly got to his feet, and with trembling limbs, he continued on, refusing to let fear win. Finally, after weeks of travel, he reached the foot of the last great obstacle, the tallest mountain range separating him from the valley. The climb was perilous. Jagged rocks, loose soil, and sheer drops tested every ounce of his courage. But Ethan thought about everything he had already overcome: the forest, the river, the loneliness, the storms. If I survived all of that, he thought, I can climb this mountain. Step by step, he climbed. Hours turned into days. Exhaustion was a constant companion, but the vision of the valley kept him going. On the final day, just as the sun began to rise, Ethan reached the peak, and there, stretched out below him, was a valley more beautiful than he had ever imagined. Rivers sparkled like silver ribbons, forests shimmered in the morning light, and small villages were alive with people living with joy and purpose. Standing there, catching his breath, he was overwhelmed with emotion. He had reached his destination, but he realized something profound. The real victory wasn't the valley itself. It was the courage, the resilience, and the determination he had discovered within himself on the journey. He descended into the valley and was welcomed with open arms. The people there shared their knowledge, their skills, and their stories. They taught him that success isn't just about what you achieve, but about who you become in the process. Ethan worked, learned, and grew. But the greatest lesson was the one he had already learned on his own. The journey had forged him into someone capable of greatness. Years later, Ethan returned to his village. The people expected to hear stories of wealth and treasure. Instead, they found a man transformed, a man filled with wisdom, patience, and a quiet, unshakable strength. He spoke to the villagers, especially the young ones, and said, "Life will test you. Fear, doubt, and failure, they will come for everyone. But the greatest failure is to stop moving forward. Every challenge is an opportunity to discover who you truly are." His story inspired the entire village. Children learned to face their fears. Young adults found the strength to chase their own goals, and the village began to flourish, not just with resources, but in spirit. Ethan's story spread far and wide, a reminder to everyone that life's greatest treasures are not material things. They are courage, resilience, and the fire that burns within you. Because in every one of us, there is an unseen horizon, a challenge that seems impossible, a fear that we must face. The question isn't whether the challenge exists, but whether you have the courage to take that first step, to keep moving forward, and to discover the incredible strength you have inside. The most powerful treasure in life is not found in wealth or recognition. It is the courage to rise, the resilience to persist, and the unwavering belief in yourself. Thanks for watching. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might need to hear it.